The pawn shop smelled like stale cigarettes and regret. The clerk handed me the scratched PS2 disc without looking up, $5, as if charging any more would have been a crime. Back home, I blew dust off the case. Candyland Races 4, weird. I'd played the hell out of CLR3 as a kid, 10,000 tracks, neon sugar castles, rainbow rivers, but never heard of a fourth installment. The cover art was off too. No grinning gummy bears or candy cane race cars, just a lone, lumpy figure in a muddy brown tracksuit, standing in what looked like an empty parking lot. The disc booted after 3 tries. The title screen flickered to life, no music, just the hum of my TV's dying backlight. Press start pulsed in a font that looked like it had been typed in Microsoft Word. I hit start. The character select screen was just one option. Larry was something. His polygon model was stretched in places it shouldn't be, his smile a jagged line of too many teeth. The track selection screen was worse, just track 01. A grey grid with a single checkered flag at the end. "All right, Larry, let's see what you got," I muttered, nudging the stick forward. The car, if you could call it that, was a boxy sedan with no wheels, gliding over the pavement like a fridge on ice. Larry giggled from the speakers, a sound like a choking seagull. I kept driving, nothing but grey. The grey grid stretched on for what felt like miles, Larry's wheezing laughter looping every 10 seconds like a broken car alarm. I was about to eject the disc and toss it into the regrets drawer when the screen flickered violently, once, twice, and then the entire world warped. The grey pavement split open like rotten fruit, revealing a chasm of neon pink and electric blue. My shitty sedan plummeted into the void, and for a split second, I thought the game had crashed. Then the bass dropped. A guitar riff tore through the speakers like a chainsaw through wet paper, followed by drums that hit so hard my subwoofer shuddered. The screen exploded into color, neon signs, skyscrapers made of candy cane, a track that twisted like a DNA strand dipped in LSD. Track 02, Sugar Rush, scrolled across the screen in flaming letters, and suddenly, Larry wasn't a glitchy nightmare anymore. He was lean, grinning, his tracksuit now a sleek racing outfit with stripes that pulsed in time with the music. The car had wheels now, real ones, chrome rims spinning so fast they blurred into halos. "Holy shit," I breathed, white-knuckling the controller. This wasn't Candyland Races. This was Jack X on crack, eve of destruction with a sugar high. The car roared beneath me, and when I punched the gas, it launched like a bullet, skidding around a corner where the road turned into a spiral of licorice. Other cars materialized beside me, not the cute, round races from CLR3, but sleek, aggressive machines with spoilers sharp enough to slice bread. One swerved into me, and instead of bouncing off, our cars locked, grinding together in a shower of sparks. Larry whooped like a maniac. A voice boomed from nowhere. "Lap 1 of 3. Watch for the pit beast." Pit beast. Before I could process it, the track moved. A section of the road reared up like a cobra, revealing a gaping mouth lined with glowing teeth. I barely swerved in time, clipping the edge and sending my car into a drift so tight the frame rate stuttered. The other racers weren't so lucky. 2 got swallowed whole, their screams cut off by a wet crunch. The moment my chocolate bomb exploded across the finish line, sending 3 rival cars flipping through the pixelated sky like overcooked pancakes, I actually screamed. Not a cheer, not a laugh, but a full-throated, "What the fuck is happening?" scream. The screen flashed winner, Larry's crew. And then the controller vibrated so violently, it leapt from my hands and clattered to the floor. The TV emitted a sound like 100 arcade cabinets being dropped down a flight of stairs, and then the room stretched. The edges of my vision warped inward, dragging the walls, the couch, me toward the screen like a black hole made of neon. I grabbed at the coffee table, fingers scrabbling against wood, but it was useless. My body dissolved into a stream of pixels. My last coherent thought panicked. I didn't even like this game 5 minutes ago. The reassembly was less gentle. I hit the ground knees first on something that felt like asphalt but smelled like burnt cotton candy. Blinking against the glare, I looked up, and up, and up, at a skyline of towering lollipops, their spirals glowing like radioactive barber poles. The air hummed with bass, the same relentless guitar riff from the game now vibrating in my ribs. "Took you long enough," drawled a voice behind me. I spun around so fast my sneakers squeaked against the candy-coated pavement. The figure standing there wasn't Larry. No, this thing was taller, thinner, his limbs twisted like overstretched taffy. His suit was a deep, unnatural purple, the color of a bruise left to rot. "Lord Licorice," he said, bowing with a flourish that made his joints pop. His voice was syrup-thick, dripping with something between amusement and exhaustion. "Welcome to the last track. You're the first player we've had in, decades." My throat tightened. Decades. He shrugged, and the motion made his shoulders crackle like cellophane. "Nobody finishes track 01. Not really. They get bored, they quit, they eject the disc." He spat the last words like they were poison. "But you made it through, which means you get to see the real game." My stomach lurched. What happened to the other winner? Lord Licorice's grin widened, his teeth jagged shards of black licorice. "Oh, he's still here, somewhere." He gestured vaguely toward the horizon, where the lollipop skyline bent unnaturally, like a funhouse mirror. "Died in this world, lived in yours. Funny how that works." Lord Licorice's grin stayed frozen, a rictus of black candy stretched too thin. The air smelled like scorched caramel and copper. "You're wondering about the blood," he said, tapping a too long finger against his temple, except his finger sank in, the skin parting like wet taffy. "Track 01 a filter. Too slow, you quit. Too fast, you crash. But the ones who almost win," he gestured to the pikes lining the track, their tips impaling glitching, half-rendered racers. Their faces flickered between smiling and screaming, stuck in a loop. "They get to be part of the scenery." I took a step back, my sneaker squelching in something warm. The track beneath me wasn't candy, it was meat, pulsing in time with the bass line, veins of molten sugar threading through sinew. The neon signs above spelled words I couldn't read, their letters squirming like maggots. "This isn't." My voice cracked. Candyland Races 3 had rainbows, gumdrop hills. Lord Licorice barked a laugh, the sound like a soda can crumpling. "CLR3 was the demo. This," he spread his arms, and his sleeves unraveled into licorice ropes dripping something dark. "This is the game that got recalled. Too many players. Stayed." His head tilted, and I realized with a jolt that his neck wasn't bending. It was melting, stretching like hot wax. "But you're special. You didn't just win, you survived." The world twitched. The lollipop skyscrapers bulged, their candy stripes splitting open to reveal rows of teeth. The sky flickered between cotton candy pink and a static grey, like a TV losing signal. When I looked back at Lord Licorice, his eyes were gone, just hollow pits oozing thick, glistening syrup. His smile hadn't changed, but now it stretched ear to ear, his lips splitting at the corners with a wet snap. "Don't look so scared," he crooned, stepping closer, his footsteps left sticky, smoking prints. The last winner, he built all that. A jerky wave at the gore-soaked track. Took his sweet time, literally. He licked his lips, too many lips, layers peeling back like an onion. "But you're faster. Smarter, hungrier." Lord Licorice's voice dripped like hot wax down my spine. "All you have to do is beat me and my Candyland nightmares in a race," he said, syllables stretching like taffy between his jagged teeth, "and you can go back home." The word home cracked like a sugar shell, revealing something rotten underneath. His shadow didn't move with him. It slithered ahead, licking at my shoes with tongues made of frayed licorice strands. I opened my mouth to ask what happened if I lost. The track answered for me. A pike of hardened caramel erupted beside us, skewering a glitching racer mid-scream. Their polygon models spasmed between human and something with too many elbows, their face flickering like a corrupted save file. Lord Licorice sighed, plucking the impaled racer off the spike like a toothpick hors d'oeuvre. "Fuel," he explained, popping them whole into his melting maw. The crunch echoed in my molars. The starting line wasn't a line at all, it was a wound. The meat track split open, revealing a pulsating gullet lined with checkered flags instead of taste buds. Other cars materialized around me. A convertible with a hood made of jawbreakers that clicked like a revolver's cylinder. A lowrider that dripped hot fudge from its exhaust pipes. My own sedan had changed. The chrome rims were now serrated, the rearview mirrors reflecting versions of me that weren't smiling. Lord Licorice didn't so much enter his car as become it. His limbs liquefied, pouring into a dragster shaped like a syringe, the needle tip glistening with something amber and thick. The engine revved, and the sound wasn't mechanical, it was guttural, the wet scream of something being torn apart mid-laugh. 3 laps, his voice gargled from the stereo speakers. Watch for the teeth. The starting gun was a lollipop snapping between giant molars. We launched. The syringe car injected itself forward, leaving a trail of bubbling sores on the track. I swerved around them, my tires screeching in a pitch that sounded weirdly like my own voice yelling no-no-no-no. The syringe car's engine screamed like a dying horse as Lord Licorice peeled ahead, his needle tip carving the air into spirals of burnt sugar. I punched the gas, my sedan's serrated rims chewing through the track's meaty surface, spraying chunks of pulsing asphalt. A racer in a jawbreaker convertible swerved into me. I rammed him sideways into a gummy bear barrier, which exploded in a shower of gelatinous shrapnel. His car flipped end over end, transforming mid-air into a pinata that burst open to rain down teeth like confetti. Lap 2 of 3, boomed the announcer, voice crackling like a popcorn kernel in a microwave. The track rippled beneath us, the candy cane guardrails suddenly sprouting arms that grabbed at passing cars. I ducked as a licorice whip limb snatched at my windshield, leaving sticky fingerprints on the glass. Ahead, Lord Licorice's dragster left a trail of bubbling sores on the track. I swerved around one just as it burst, releasing a swarm of glitching wasps made of pixelated honey. The bass line from the soundtrack was a living thing now, thrumming in my ribcage, syncing with the erratic flutter of my heartbeat. A lowrider dripping hot fudge cut me off. I retaliated by hitting the nitrous, my car's front grille splitting open to reveal a mouthful of molten caramel. The resulting fireball engulfed the lowrider, melting it into a puddle of screaming chrome. Lord Licorice glanced back, his rearview mirror reflecting not his face, but a black hole dotted with twitching, candy-coated stars. He winked, actually winked, before his car folded inward, transforming into an origami bullet that shot through a loop-de-loop made of fused peppermints. I followed, my stomach lurching as gravity inverted, the world becoming a kaleidoscope of neon and teeth. Then the pit beast returned. The speed boost hit like a dentist's drill to the brain, white-hot, chemical, wrong. My vision tunneled into a single pinprick of light as the world dissolved into streaks of neon and static. Somewhere between atoms and agony, I wrenched the wheel right, tires screaming against the meat track as the car careened through a fissure in reality I hadn't even seen until now. A glitch in the geometry, a seam in the candy-coated nightmare. Lord Licorice's howl of rage sounded like 1,000 soda cans being crushed at once. The shortcut was a collapsing wormhole of half-rendered textures, my sedan's hood peeling back like tinfoil as we breached the finish line in a shower of glitching confetti. The victory screen flickered to life. Winner, not Larry, in jagged, bleeding pixels. Then the world unzipped. One moment I was choking on the stench of burnt sugar and copper. The next I was sprawled on my apartment floor, the controller's cord wrapped around my ankle like a noose. The TV screen fizzed with static, the PS2 power light blinking erratically like a dying heartbeat. The disc tray ejected with a sound like a dying man's last gasp. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed the disc, still warm, the label now bubbling as if freshly licked by hellfire, and marched to the stove. The flames turned purple when I tossed it in, the plastic warping into a shrieking face I refused to recognize before collapsing into ash. The smell was equal parts birthday cake and funeral pyre. For exactly 27 days, I lived in blissful denial. I scrubbed the sticky residue of panic from my palms with lemon-scented soap. I donated my PS2 to a thrift store where it would hopefully languish between Madden 08 and Barbie Horse Adventures. I ate cereal in the mornings without checking if the milk had swirls of neon pink. I was free, and I went back to living my life like nothing ever happened. Then, on the 28th day, the gummy bears started watching me. The first one was nestled in a bowl of trail mix at work, A single red bear, glossy as fresh blood, its beady eyes tracking me from between the almonds. When I poked it with a pen, the damn thing winked. I dumped the whole bowl into the trash, but not before noticing the bear's limbs were twisted at unnatural angles, just like Lord Licorice's. That night, my microwave display glitched, 0000 flickering into L1C0R1C3 for 3 heartbeats before reverting. The popcorn I made tasted like burnt caramel and regret. I spat it into the sink, only to watch the kernels squirm like maggots before dissolving into syrup. By week 6, the signs were everywhere. License plates with L4RY in raised letters. A billboard for a dentist's office with a grinning, stretching mascot. The way rainbows in puddles refracted into jagged, licorice black lines if I stared too long.